This is so easy.
So that is a public service announcement on texting and driving. You're seeing them all across our country in a community near you. Try to drive home, literally, the point of being a distracted driver. Many provinces have already implemented a number of rules and regulations, fines, quite big ones, if you are caught texting while driving. Someone who knows a little thing or two about being a distracted driver is Ziggy Saeed. He is a driver instructor at the Canadian Academy for Defensive Drivers. Nice to see you.
You too.
Thank you very much for being here.
Pleasure.
That public service announcement, it's jarring because it's a situation whereby everybody can relate to it. You know, a couple of friends, you're hanging out, and then boom, you're being smashed into your vehicle by someone. They were at a stoplight. They weren't the distracted drivers, though they were on their phones. The person who's driving the other vehicle was clearly distracted. That's the point they're trying to make. There's this new study out that says, a number of Ontario high school students, 46% basically have said, look, at one point, I text while I'm driving, I'm distracted. You're a driving instructor.
Yeah.
What are you telling people in this day and age?
Well, pretty much, the problem is that they think that it only takes them a second to just send a message like LOL, oh my God, stuff like that, right? But 1 second it's a difference between you living and dying. And it is a serious out there. I mean, this is the truth, but the kids don't take that seriously. And like, for example, another issue that we are having right now is this, that texting driving is one thing, but the Ontario should need to put a little bit more penalties and fines. Now they're coming up with this. They are saying that, okay, they might put a 3 demerit points, and they're talking about that. But I think 3 demerit points is too less. They should go up to 6, which is with the careless driving, 6 demerit points, and increase the fine. They did from $155 to $280 last March. So that is one thing that I think if we put the penalty strict and increase the demerit points, people will probably take it under more consideration.
I think you're right, and I've argued that too. I'm loath to admit when we need government regulation. I don't like that. I don't like government coming in and dictating to us how to live our lives, but there are certain aspects of what they can do that we as individual citizens cannot do, and we're paying for it. We're paying through insurance costs. We know that there's going to be on those of us who are not distracted drivers. We're good drivers. We all pay the penalty. I want to put up a graphic that shows sort of this breakdown of what is going on with these distracted drivers. 1.6 million accidents a year, 330,000 injuries a year, 11 deaths every day. Saeed, nearly 25% of all car accidents are caused by distracted driving, and it makes you 23 times more likely to crash. So, I mean, to your larger point, you teach at an academy that's defensive driving.
Yes.
So let's turn the tables around for a moment. And if you are in your vehicle and you can sort of get a sense of someone who perhaps is driving erratically, what do? I mean, Toronto is a busy place. There's only so far you can drive. You can't, drive into a building, or there's no ditches to go to. So help me out on that.
So pretty much is a lot of things is scanning out there. Scanning is the biggest issue out there. A lot of people, they try to drive like what we call a tunnel vision.
Okay.
They just look straight. They don't scan at the intersection when they're crossing for potential hazard, which could be one of the texting driving.
Sure.
Now, let's say a scenario. You're at a traffic light. It's green for you. You're going straight, and the person coming on the right-hand side, they have a red traffic light, but they're busy texting.
Yeah.
If you potentially scan ahead of time, and you sense that the fact that they're coming closer to the red light and the car is not dropping the speed, you are ready to press on the brake and stop the car.
Yeah.
So scanning is one of the things. That's why it's one of the defensive driving methods we teach out there.
Yeah. Does it trouble you that so many percentage of teenagers that are out there are admitting to texting and driving? Does that trouble you?
Yep, it is alarming, and I can tell you this, as a driving instructor, I'm also on the road every day, risking my life, right? And we're trying to improve the driving conditions, but it's not helping, and I think Ministry of Transportation Ontario needs to really take up a step or two to get this into order.
Is there something that they're implementing in the driver's ed program now? Obviously, this is going to be a big component of it, about the distracted driving and the potential for what can happen to your driver's license if you get caught, if you get into an accident. It can be fatal. I mean, but you talk about 3 demerit points versus 6. There has to be more of a financial burden, I think, for people for it to register.
Well, at the moment, that from what I can tell is that they're having the fine that I already mentioned, which is the $280. Now they were talking about before this election came, that to increase the fine to actually $1,000 for that. So, and I mean, demerit points will increase your insurance, of course. So that will be another financial issue that you would have to face, or your parents, whoever's paying for the car. 6 is even worse.
Do you ever ask your students about this specifically? I mean, it's your responsibility as an instructor to instill, I think, that safety component to it. It's the parents' responsibility, but maybe even sometimes peer pressure helps in order for them to sort of stick to the rules of the road. But it's not just teenagers; adults are just as guilty of this.
You'll be surprised.
And then it's learned behavior too, right?
Yep. See, it's like this. For example, when a kid is in a car with a parent and they see the parents are doing the same thing, they pick on that. Since the early ages, like from the age of 5, they pick on that. Now teenagers, we do teach them and show them in the classroom the videos, the PSAs that you have over here. We have a lot more, and these are serious consequences. But the problem is, not everybody is like, it's not mandatory to come to a driving school, it's an optional.
Okay.
So we're trying to get the word out there, but we need help from the MTO.
Okay. And now, we have not much time left, but let me throw this one in there because there's this new study that says it's summertime. We all get hot under the collar out there. We're all frustrated with traffic and congestion. Ziggy, is road rage? We just had a guy charged recently with throwing, a metal object into a car and all sorts of dangerous activity. Is road rage on the rise on Canadian roads, do you think?
Oh, of course it is. I mean, winter or summer, the road rage is out there, but summer is the provocation, I would say, that provokes a lot of people to drive fast, watching movies like Fast and Furious. And also one more thing I just would like to mention, the fact is that just out of the ordinary, like, to become a hairdresser in Ontario, you have to do a 2 years course, right? But to drive a car, anyone can teach you.
Yeah.
And there's something the MT need to take it strict or seriously, that make sure that doesn't matter who you are, you must go through a driving school, and that's because we're an institution out here. We're trying to make sure that you drive properly and you get the message out there what we're trying to help. Only few people come here, we only can improve, and then they see, hey, everybody else is driving the way, why shouldn't I?
Okay, Ziggy, great stuff. Appreciate you joining me. Thank you very much. That is Ziggy Saeed. He's a driving instructor at the Canadian Academy for Defensive Driving. We have to take a short break. Jerry Agar is going to join me next to give us a preview of what he has coming up. Stay tuned.
Are you confused?